Can I just say something about Andrea?
Welcome back, guys. We're here for part 5 of the decertification hearing. Based on what we've been told so far, we are expecting that this is going to be the start of the defense case. The post-division attorney, Mr. Martinez, indicated that the last witness, Brian Holmes, the IA investigator, was going to be his last witness. So we are anticipating now moving on to the defense case. And I got to tell you, I'm interested to see what it brings, given that, again, just a sort of reminder of our context here. Mr. Devine is already retired from law enforcement. He apparently doesn't intend to work as a law enforcement officer again, but nevertheless, he's contesting this decertification request in the interest of clearing his name. And yet, over what we've seen so far, we seem to have gotten far more damaging information from his own attorney than we've gotten from anything the post-division has said. Much of what we're allowed to see is limited by these redactions that are in place to protect communications, to protect names, protective orders concerning federal materials. All of these things seem to be at least implied in the discussions about them. But we're able to read between the lines with some of the questioning that's asked. And so, you know, from that, we've been able to ascertain that, you know, the bulk of the communication that has been attributed to Mr. Devine is through a social media account under the name of Marty Riggs. And Mr. Devine is denying that that's him. So a lot is hanging on the Marty Riggs identification. Holmes has said, I can tell it's him by context based on the things that they talked about, his familiarity with the Stoughton Police Department, and then details about his bar admission. Mr. Devine is unfortunately, apparently one of us. He's a lawyer now, but he was in law school during the time period that these events are alleged to have occurred. And took and passed the bar examination. So he has tried to shift the responsibility for the Marty Riggs text onto another Robert in the police department who also subsequently passed the bar examination. But it's not at the right time. The time frame doesn't add up. So not really seeing a whole lot of other you know, strong challenges to the identification of Mr. Devine as Marty Riggs. So from this, we've heard, you know, Sandra has told a lot of people a lot of things. She told them Devine was acting like a creep, acting like a perv, I think was the word she used, like a perv. Sent her a dick pic. Of course, it might not be his thing, you know, just a picture of somebody's thing. And had some kind of interaction at his house. His defense to that was, you know, couldn't possibly have happened because my kids were probably home, which is just, you know, given me all kinds of inferences about his parenting and his morals that I don't really want to have to think about. So you know, all of these things were not elicited by the post-division. The post-division has kept their questioning and their presentation of evidence in this hearing pretty big picture. It's been the defense that's gone into the details, and the more they get into the details, the less favorable those details really seem to be. So, oh, I got some sunshine in here this morning. Well, that's not a bad thing, but a little awkward with my lights here. Well, anyways, guys, that's the intro. That's where we're at. Expecting to move on to the defense. So with that, let's see what they have to bring us.
I need to reflect for a moment. That was the decision on the journal. What is it that you're asking for now? So,
Guys, I'm just asking them to move it as evidence. I don't know that it's actually in evidence. If it is, great. If it's not, I want to make sure that I have it done.
Here's the journal.
I believe it's in evidence already. I think it was in the motion. The motion in limine decided it was in.
That's what I thought. That's what
I just want to make sure. So he received
I
it.
never did this twice. So it's in, we don't need to deal with it, I gather.
As long as it's in.
Okay. We have another witness, Phil.
I believe that the division rests.
And there's the response.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I apologize. The interview transcripts are in. The rest of the documents are we.
You mean the exhibits that were associated with those?
Correct. We did not resolve that. Excuse me.
Well, they're resting except for whatever's
I
going to happen with
understood
the
that what
transcripts.
came to us, but I haven't had an opportunity nor even attention to review everything. What's coming into evidence was the audio recordings themselves, the transcripts, and obviously some other related documents, for instance, the ones that you sought to redact and withhold. Are there more additional documents beyond that?
So there are essentially documents that the investigators used when they were interviewing individuals. So for example, there are copies of text message that was shown, a reference in the interview as well.
Well, that's true. In fact, that was one that Mr. Stowe had seen attached. So
Yes.
there's more of those out there.
Yes, there are.
How do you feel about those coming?
Well, Your Honor, I think one of the duplicates, which we already have, and secondly, there's,
Well, except that one, would that have been somewhere else?
I don't know that it is. I don't know that it is.
No, he said they would be duplicates.
Duplicates. Well, the ones I have seen are basically the Village Farwell, the stuff that's already part of the exhibits that are here.
You know, like a text message.
Tell the text messages. The only one that's not, this wasn't part of the AI report.
Well, he's of course he doesn't want it in. He doesn't want any of the post commission's evidence in. But he seems to be saying, well, it's duplicative, so you don't need it. But the problem is that you need to know which text message it was that he was talking about in these interviews. And so that's the reason for providing a new one, so that we know, okay, when we're reading through the interview transcript and we hear them saying, do you see this text message? Do you recognize this? What's your explanation for it? We know what text message they're talking about. I find this whole, like, we took the evidence, but now we're resting, except we're not, because we're still trying to dump a whole bunch of more documentation into the record. It's just bizarre. Administrative hearings, a bit bizarre. Like this, wouldn't work in a trial type of setting. It's just not how the presentation of evidence works. You need a witness. If this is a situation where you've submitted your evidence ahead of time, then like dumping a whole bunch in at the back end, like there's kind of some due process implications with that. So yeah, don't love the process, but it's probably just part and parcel of being an administrative hearing.
My decision really seeks to do exactly that, to avoid more duplication and the like. But are you concerned, counsel, that there's other documents that are not part of the record already?
I believe that may be the case, Your Honor. Well, in particular, the audio transcripts are certainly not elsewhere.
You mean the audio recordings?
Yes, the audio recordings, correct.
Well, I think particularly when there's been some controversy about the transcription and the like, that the audio ought to be part of the record as well. Do you have
I agree.
any problem with that?
I have no problem with the audience.
So we will, as a set, it'll be one exhibit, which will be all of the audio recordings, the transcripts for which have been moved into evidence and accepted.
But there's other extraneous stuff. There's questions that the officers had. And part of it was what was produced, that their mental thoughts and questions they were going to ask. So there's other stuff in there that isn't just transcripts.
I thought you were just telling me that the only thing you found that wasn't already elsewhere was this, what's his name?
Right, and that's what was written on, because the officer wrote that on. But I think there might be one record that the police officer wrote out, these are the questions I'm gonna ask this particular witness. I think there might be one of those. But if you don't have it, you don't have it, so.
The division's position is that all these materials should go in, be admitted into evidence that were received from Stone Police Department. In particular, because it's been such an issue of what was turned over to post or not. I mean, the witness himself just testified that his intention was that post have everything, because that's the way that the internal affairs investigation would be complete.
Yeah, well, I had a few reasons for asking that question, but that's one of them. Well, to the extent it deals with the issue, if there is a lingering issue about the failure to transmit the entire file to the commission, why wouldn't that be satisfied simply by having all that margin identification preserved that way?
Oops. Yeah, I mean, here we are in part 5, and we're still dealing with this issue of, you know, what got turned over and what didn't get turned over. This is that, you know, unnecessary difficulty that we didn't have to have, but there is this culture of sloppiness when it comes to documentation and paperwork. Harkening back to everything that we saw in Karen Reed. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw over the last couple days, there is apparently a whole chain of custody report that the evidence system in the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office will produce. So yeah, who knew that such things were feasible? But you know, here it is demonstrating like why it's such a problem to just not do your one basic documentation thing. We're on day 5. We're still talking about it. And now we have to cram the record full of all this stuff because the defense has made a big deal out of what was handed over, what wasn't handed over. If you had just handed over literally everything in the first instance, there would be no issue about this. Of course, the defense would then be complaining about something else, how hard it is to find all the materials or whatever. It's duplicative, discovery dump. You can't win, right? They can't win in this situation. But overproduction is just generally going to cause you far fewer problems than underproduction, withholding, forgetting about stuff, not handing it over. That just creates so many arguments with notice and due process and things like that. So, you know, we shouldn't even need to be having this conversation, but here we are still on part 5, dealing with how are we going to deal with the consequences of the Stoughton Police Department not turning over all of their investigative materials to the Post Division.
I just, I've got to make fact findings that have to weed through a whole file to see if there's one document that has some handwritten material on it but it appears elsewhere in this file. Seems to be a distraction that's not productive and that wouldn't help us get to the root findings in this case. But if there's some other, I mean, I think the documents need to be preserved because we now have everything that the department says that they meant to transmit. I think we could do that by saving that marking for identification. Does that suit your purposes?
So I think there are two documents where part of it is it's been so long since direct occurred on Chief Holmes that I'm unsure of what Chief Holmes represented on his direct.
What is that one? So
there are two in particular. One, there's a screenshot of the Board of Bar Examiners website and Mr. Devine's result. And I can't remember if Chief Holmes represented that he did not look up that information or not, but it was contained on this flash drive. And then the other thing that
that was really a subject of the testimony. Yes. I don't have a problem with that. Do you have any objection to that one being
The Board of our overseers.
Screenshot.
Yeah, we stipulated that.
So it's already in evidence, but there was a question as to whether Chief Holmes had that information.
Okay, and now we suspect that he would because it was part of the documents he'd been provided.
Correct.
We can add that one.
And the other one is,
That'll be my next exhibit is the screenshot of,
Okay, let me just check because that was, admitted last time. So,
but the reason, as far as he wants it now, is
yes,
the context in which we received it.
yeah, so that was, Division Exhibit 11. So.
Different
I guess
screenshot.
that would-
can we maybe stipulate that it was also part of the materials that were received from Stone Police Department?
Does that satisfy that concern?
Yeah, the other documents,
That's exhibit 11, where it's a stipulation, that's part of the documents that have been since June 5th that have been provided from the Stowe Police Department.
and the other document, this is again something that I have a note about, but I'm not entirely certain.
And then a thing we don't get to hear. There's two screenshots. I don't know if they've confused the screenshots because the Exhibit 11,
know
if
what
I
that
remember
all means.
right,
Yeah.
was the screenshot from the other
I can
Rob.
forward the document. It's already been identified at this point, but I can forward the document as well. It's something,
Remember, he brought in the screenshot from the other Rob passing the bar examination to establish that the date was off. That's what that previous one was, if I'm remembering that correctly. So I don't know if they're even sorting out their record problems here or just creating new ones.
Assuming Mr. Devine is still going to testify, I expect that we're going to go for until tomorrow. If Attorney Stowe needs time to review, we can discuss this tomorrow.
In any event, it's part of that group of documents that's now being marked for identification, right? Which is
Yes, they're the ones submitted on June 13th for those ones.
Correct.
yes.
Okay.
And what is that? What would we call that? Something for identification.
Following all of those were marked.
So much of work is so boring.
Exhibit F for identification purposes. And just for the record, I did want to say that the screenshot of the respondent's bar admission was Division Exhibit 5. I know I originally said
Thank you.
11, but that was the Robert Holmes bar admission. So,
Robert Holmes, another Robert.
Exhibit 5.
yes, and that was the.
Anything else we need to discuss before we hear from the next witness?
No, I did just email those or that specific PDF.
Okay, that's what so you're saying
Yes.
conviction has rested.
Yes.
It's responding to any evidence you wish to give,
Yes.
and you have witness.
Haley Hogan.
We get
Haley Hogan.
Haley Holmes.
If I could get, 1266.
She was the one who had to be recalled.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you say your name, please?
Haley Hogan.
Hogan.
Hogan, would you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may have a seat.
Ma'am, could you state your name for the record?
Haley Hogan,
And what town do you live in?
Stoughton, Massachusetts.
How long have you lived in Stoughton?
My whole life.
How old are you?
24.
What do you do for work?
I'm a dog groomer.
And,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. You're what?
A dog groomer.
A dog groomer.
and you know, the gentleman sitting next to me, Mr. Robert?
I do.
How do you know?
I was about 13, 14 years old. I joined a Stoughton Police Explorers Academy. And that's when I met him.
And, what is the Stoughton Police Academy? What is Explorer Program?
The way I was explained when I was younger, it was a academy for youth who had
any idea of wanting to be in the military or firefighter, cop, etc., that type of training.
And how was it you learned about the program?
I believe it was through school, through my counselor who had introduced me to that.
What school was that?
O'Donnell Middle School in Stowe.
And
You got to say Stowe in. Just like Canton. They don't have a T over there. That's how the accent works. Stowe in.
what was your experience like?
To me, it was a great experience. It was a very safe environment. It was very firm with rules, and I wanted to be in the military, so I really loved the environment of being able to learn what I would have to go through if I were to go into the Coast Guard like I wanted to when I was that age.
So this is going to be going to a defense of he didn't do anything to this girl and she didn't see him do anything, therefore he didn't do anything to anybody else, or there were no other problems with any other officers, is ultimately what I think this is getting at.
And what was your interactions like with Mrs. How often did you see him? What would you do as far as interactions go?
I saw him daily. He ran the Explorers Academy. I wouldn't say I necessarily interacted with him daily, but in the academy, he was very nice, very professional, very inspiring. He told a lot of stories of him in the military, so that was the part to me that made me want to be there, because he was in the Coast Guard, and that spoke to me, because I wanted to go into the Coast Guard.
And did he give out his email address or phone number to pay people?
Never.
If you wanted to contact him, how would you do that?
They were, I forget the name of what they were called, but there were specific youth people that were in charge that you would go to them instead of the police officers.
They were the captains of the program?
Correct.
So he had a small group of people that if you wanted to talk to him, you'd have to go through the captains of the program.
Yes.
Chain of command.
Kind of a hierarchy.
Right.
The guys that would have in the military.
Yeah.
No, did you draft this affidavit? Did you sign this affidavit?
I did.
Okay. And why'd you sign it? Why'd you sign the document?
Because it's the truth.
Okay. And you were in the program. Let's start with paragraph 3. You were in the program with SB throughout your tenure.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Paragraph 3. Can you see it from there?
Slightly, yes.
Paragraph 3. I'm going to go through the paragraphs and ask you questions.
Perfect.
Paragraph 3.
Yes.
What was your tenure? When did you start? When did you leave?
I can't give you exact dates, but I did the Explorers Academy for one full, the duration that they would hold it with when Devine was running the program. And then the person that took over the next year, I didn't make it halfway through that Explorers program because it just wasn't the same.
How did it change?
I felt like it wasn't as the officer that was in charge at that point. I feel like he wasn't as dedicated to it. Not that he wasn't serious, but he just wasn't as inspiring, or I feel like he didn't care as much.
Inspiring and caring, these are not necessarily bad traits for somebody to have who's in a leadership mentoring type of position, but they do speak to kind of what his style was, doesn't it? If the organization of this program fell apart after this charismatic leader is gone, then the value isn't really in the program, is it? The structure, the training, and so forth, the rules. It's in your exposure to this guy, and that's a real double-edged sword. A lot of charismatic leaders in history that have had enormous influence on world events, Caesar, Napoleon, kind of like very, very well known people who had this ability to, inspire. But then you also have the Hitlers, and you also have the Jim Joneses. It really, it's a power that can be very beneficial and pro-social, but it also can be, very, very dangerous if that is not guided by a strong moral core and sense of responsibility. And that seems to be kind of maybe what this whole issue with the grooming is kind of coming around to. He likes to inspire, motivate these kids. He likes the feedback that he gets from that. He likes the admiration he gets from that. And so what's he using that for? Is that really for the benefit of these kids, or is that for some other purpose?
It just didn't feel the same.
And have you ever seen Mr. Devine display any unprofessional behavior towards any of the students or explorers?
Never.
What if any conduct did you see, or any relationship did you see between SB and Mr. Devine?
No,
No what?
I did not see a relationship between them two.
This is up there with the defense that you see all the time in like domestic violence cases, where they'll bring in like, a neighbor, brother, roommate, or something like that. I never saw it. And it's never persuasive, because nobody expects all of this to be done right out in the open shamelessly, or there wouldn't be it wouldn't be like a surprise. Everybody would know. There would have been an opportunity to intervene already. So everybody kind of expects that these things do happen behind closed doors. And that's part of what makes them dangerous. It's like almost by definition, if somebody is grooming a child, you're going to do that where she can't see it. It's kind of part of how it works. The isolation, to make this kid feel special and chosen, singled out compared to the others. And you can't pull that off in front of everybody, or everybody's like, what are you doing? It's weird.
Ever see Mr. Devine kiss or hug anyone in the program?
No, I did not.
Did Mr. Devine give you any directions regarding if you felt comfortable or uncomfortable in participating?
I'm sure that I'm sure at some point, maybe to the class, there was times where he said if there was anything you were uncomfortable with, you could always talk to one of the youth captains, or if there's anything you ever needed, you could always reach out to somebody.
Could you expand on that, please?
Unfortunately, I never got to experience going on one. But the ride-alongs, I know that statement is accurate. That the ride-alongs with females, they would have to go with female officers. But unfortunately, I never got to go on one.
So she knows what the rule is, but not how the rule was or was not followed, because she wasn't in the environment. She didn't do it. She didn't see.
Please expand on that.
I feel like she was very attention seeking. She was just one of those people that would try to go above and beyond and be better than everyone else to get a praise or attention.
Okay. You witnessed that, ma'am?
Yes.
What happened? What did you say?
There had been times where she had asked if any of us knew anyone that could get in contact with any of the officers. And she talked about it a few times, but she never actually talked about being in contact. She just wanted to get in contact.
And I believe. Did anyone?
It was a time for me where I was starting to, you know, hang out with the wrong kids and kind of go down different paths in life. And I feel like the Stoughton Police Explorers Academy that Devine specifically ran just gave me a little bit of, like, it made me kind of know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that, like, I wanted to be in a profession somewhat like that. I like.
And so now she's a dog groomer. I don't mean to be rude. But do you catch there's something not adding up here? I was so inspired. I knew that's the direction I wanted to go. And now I don't know how old she is, 24 years old. She's not in the military. She's not in law enforcement. She is not a first responder. She is a dog groomer. And so it just, you know, maybe speaks to the limits of that inspiration, or it might speak to the authenticity of her expression of how inspired she was and how beneficial this program was and so forth. Just kind of got to point that out. Put you on a path where you knew what you wanted to do, but you're not doing that. So did it? Is this a revisionism a little bit?
Liked having the rules and like the regulations of like feeling like I was in the military.
Okay. No further questions.
Any cross?
Good afternoon, Ms. Holden. Did you draft this affidavit yourself? And why did you initially draft the affidavit?
I drafted it because it's the truth.
So nobody reached out to you, you just drafted it?
I knew I was going to be have to be a part of this. So
How did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
When I was told.
By who?
By whom?
I got mail to my house that said I had to be here.
From who?
You're saying at this hearing today?
Yeah.
But that's after you drafted the affidavit, right?
Right, yeah.
So when did you draft the affidavit?
A while ago.
And why did you draft it?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Did somebody ask you to?
Why so defensive?
I can't remember.
You can't remember? You can't remember? Of course you know somebody asked you to. Why so defensive? This just cratered. That answer right there just cratered. You can't remember. You absolutely remember how all this came about. And you know he asked you. And so now you're shooting yourself in the foot to avoid saying he asked you to do it. There's nothing wrong with him asking you to do it. He has the right to put on a defense. And to the extent he thinks this sort of good guy character stuff is going to be helpful, he can put that on. And there's nothing wrong with presenting it. But the defensiveness here is the tell. She feels like she's doing something wrong. Why would you be feeling like you're doing something wrong if all you're doing is coming in and sharing your experience of what you know, which apparently includes, you know, your opinions about Sandra Birchmore. That is like basic stuff you should be prepared for. Of course, you're going to be asked, how did you get involved in any of this? And she is completely unprepared to answer that. And she feels guilty about it. And now she just told us all that.
Did you do it on your own will?
Yeah. Yes.
So you just woke up one day and said, I feel like drafting an affidavit?
No, I knew, like, obviously the context of the situation that was going on and that I was gonna have to be involved in witness.
But how did you know that? How did you know you would have to be a witness?
I can't remember. Honestly, this has been going on for a while, so I've had this affidavit written out for a while.
Did Mr. Devine ever ask you to draft the affidavit?
No.
Did Mr. Stowe?
No,
Oh, they didn't?
So you just,
maybe. I'm not sure.
It's maybe. No, it's maybe because she knows. She knows that's ridiculous. Of course they asked her. Wow. Wow. I didn't realize this was going to be this bad. I really didn't. I didn't realize this was going to be this bad. This is fairly milquetoast testimony in terms of, you know, I was inspired by him. I thought he was a good leader. I never saw him do anything appropriate. It's a very minimal probative value, although I don't know if, you know, she's going to necessarily know that. It's not like this is, you know, the critical testimony that's going to blow the case, you know, wide open one way or the other. No, of course they did. Of course they did. Well, maybe. Yeah. Good job. You're getting closer to now having some sort of credibility in this. She just has, she's blown her believability up. It's amazing.
maybe to which?
To Stowe. I'm not sure.
So did you graduate from Stone High School?
Yes.
Now me, you know, I'm maybe a little more of an asshole. I probably would have stuck on this a little bit further. I probably would have followed up with, well, how often have you spoken with Robert Devine since you were in the police academy? When did you do that? When did that start? How often would you speak to him? Was that only recently? What did you talk about? I would feel perfectly comfortable going ahead and continuing to explore these limits of her memory. Maybe he's going there. We'll see.
Well, no, I didn't. I dropped out freshman year. Sorry. I graduated from Mansfield.
Okay, and so in what years did you attend Stone High School?
9th grade.
Were you an explorer in 9th grade?
No, it was middle school.
Okay. Are you aware if SB was an explorer after middle school?
She was older than me, so I'm not sure how long she was in the program prior to me.
And prior to her death, how often did you keep in contact with SB?
I really didn't after the Explorers Academy.
I'm just having a little trouble hearing you.
I didn't after the Explorers Academy.
So that was approximately when you were a freshman in high school at the latest?
Yeah.
And you're
Oh,
not,
it was I definitely was not in the Explorers Academy while I was a freshman. It was definitely between the years of like 7th and 8th grade of middle school.
So 10 years ago, roughly 13, 14 years old, and she's 24 now.
have you kept in contact with Mr. Devine?
There you go.
I mean, yeah,
How do you keep in contact?
he lives in my neighborhood.
How often do you see him?
Not often.
Has he lived in your neighborhood since you were a police explorer?
I'm not sure. I just know that I've lived in the same location my whole life, and I've seen him walking around and driving around the neighborhood. So I know he lives around me.
Do you have his phone number now?
No.
Did you ever have his phone number?
No.
Do you talk on social media?
So you mentioned that you never saw any inappropriate contact between Mr. Devine and a police explorer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are you aware if Mr. Devine ever had any relationship with explorers after they graduated high school?
Not that I know of.
Nothing further.
I'm a little confused about one thing. At some point, before you ever wrote an affidavit, before you got a summons to appear here, but initially, did somebody contact you and ask you to be a witness in this case?
I don't remember.
Well, you're here now,
Yeah, because of the mail I got.
but you were here, and you were here in June
Right,
because of mail you got.
right.
And prior, did that come out of thin air? And you say, "Oh my God, why am I getting this mail? Why am I going to court?"
This hearing officer is on it. Ain't buying this for a second. Did this just come out of thin air, the subpoena? No, because you'd already written an affidavit.
Whatever we call this.
I mean, it made sense. I was a part of that Explorers Academy.
So,
It made sense. I was a part of that academy.
so if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying at the moment you got that, it just made sense. You had no idea that somebody was, because you hadn't talked to
Not
anyone
playing
about being a witness in this case. Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
It made sense to you, you said that you got subpoenaed to come to court because you'd been part of the Explorers program.
Right.
And before that, you received that summons, even though it made sense to you, is it your testimony that nobody approached you about or asked you to be a witness in this case?
She doesn't remember.
I don't, I mean, I had to have been asked by someone, but I just,
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
yeah, I mean,
Well, let's think about the people that it could be. Did Mr. Devine ever talk to you about being a witness in this case?
I feel like I got a letter.
Well, don't look at him, look at me.
Oh,
Or-
shit. Oh, shit. Don't look at him. Look at me. He's not buying this for a second. And now he's suspicious. Now he's suspicious. The long pause. Well, I must have. Yeah, you must have. We caught on to that before you said anything. I thought this was just going to be boring little character witness, but now she's up here with her guilty conscience just seeping out of her up here. And this hearing officer ain't going to let it go. Now he's displeased.
Sorry, I'm trying just to remember. I don't know.
Well, I want you to try real hard because it's important for me to understand because I have to make certain decisions in this case. All right. So think about how you got involved as a witness in this case. Did Mr. Devine or Mr. Stowe or somebody on their behalf come and talk to you and see if you'd be willing to be a witness in this case?
Not in person. I believe I got a letter. And I believe it was from Mr. Stowe.
And did you follow up after you got the letter? Did you call Mr. Stowe and say, okay, I'd be a witness?
Yeah, because I had talked to him prior to this.
Prior to this, you mean being here?
Right.
And it was really, really hard for you to say that in the previous cross-examination. Why? Why was it hard for you to say, yeah, I talked to Mr. Stowe? I'm pretty sure she said I didn't. Maybe she talked to Stowe. No, she said she didn't. They didn't contact her. Well, maybe Stowe did, but she's not sure. But now she's sure. Why you acting so shady about your good guy testimony? Why you acting so shady about it?
Prior to signing an affidavit as well.
I believe so. I believe so.
Did you type the affidavit or was it presented to you to sign after you talked to somebody?
No, I came up with the affidavit.
You wrote that all
Yeah.
on your own?
I mean, my aunt's a lawyer, so I mean, I had a little bit of help.
Ah, so there it is. It's the lawyer aunt.
Way to put her at ease.
But was it suggested to you that that an affidavit would be helpful in this case? From an affidavit from you?
I believe so.
And who suggested that?
I'm not sure. I can't remember who told me I needed to do what.
You don't remember You don't remember, you've only remembered talking to Stowe. And so if you remember any sort of prompting on this at all, if you've never spoken with Devine, then it seems like it would have to be Stowe, wouldn't it? You wouldn't even have any memory of talking with Devine that would confuse you maybe about who you talked to about what. But she's already denied hard and strong that she had any sort of communication with Devine. Why? Well, probably because he's getting into trouble for having communication with these former explorers after they graduate from high school. And she knows that. There should be no confusion. If only Stowe is the only one you talk to, it would probably be him. The struggle here is so much more telling than anything at all she has to say.
I don't really know.
But
It's been a
did
while.
you receive, you said, who told you to do what? Did you receive instructions from somebody?
Not instructions, no.
Suggestions from somebody?
No. Just I knew I had to write an affidavit.
How did you know that?
I believe I got a letter. I honestly, my memory is terrible. So it's been so long.
And there you have it. Your memory is terrible. And it's been so long, when it's been maybe no more than like a year or so. But the whole point of your testimony here is to talk about events that happened at least 10 years ago. But your memory about those is better. She's destroyed herself.
Now, how long has it been? What's the date of that affidavit? I'm sorry.
January 9th, 23.
Okay, so it's been over 2 years.
Yeah. So it's honestly a little foggy for me.
A little what?
A little foggy, like exactly how I got to that point. But I know that there was definitely a letter that made me aware that I was going to be involved. I just am not 100% sure what that letter said or when I got it. I'm not sure.
Did the letter tell you that you were required to be involved, or asked you if you were willing to be involved?
Willing.
All right. Any further questions?
No.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yay. That's not a good preview of the defense.
Still any additional evidence?
Yes, sure. I asked to take a quick break.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds.
I've had it.
No, okay. Let's take a look. What should I expect to happen next?
I just need 2 minutes.
That's right. We can recess for a few minutes.
Oh, so Devine is going to start now?
All right, Stowe, you want to call Mr. Devine?
I do.
I think we just moved on to the next part of the playlist. So I am going to, this just skipped over to part 6. So I am going to go ahead and end this one right now. It's a little bit short. But I want to take Mr. Devine all in one fell swoop. You know, that whole primacy recency doctrine thing, they made a choice to start with her and then conclude with Devine. They expected her to lay the groundwork to sort of soften the perception of Mr. Devine as this, kind of pervy old predator. And I can't believe it went the way that they thought it was going to. I really don't. Even knowing, I mean, they surely know this is marginally helpful, if at all. The fact that he did not abuse one person is not proof that he didn't abuse another. The fact that he didn't have this inappropriate contact with her, which, honestly, now I'm even skeptical about. I'm even skeptical about it because she did such a bad job of just accounting for her involvement in the case. But even if I accept that as true, it doesn't prove he didn't do that to somebody else. So it's so marginally helpful anyway. And it just really went sideways. That really went sideways. She was so shady about how she got involved in the case that it makes it now look like there's this major suspicion hanging over how and why she's involved in the case in the first place. Like it's worse than just not calling her. You got so little out of calling her. And now the taint that is there by her guilty conscience and her evasiveness, and now I have a terrible memory. But you're literally being called to testify about things that happened 10 years ago. I don't think that was a smart move. I really don't. I really don't. You could have prepped her a little better. If there was nothing wrong with what happened in the process leading up to her agreeing to be a witness, you could have just told her, tell the truth about everything that happens. You're not doing anything wrong. This isn't anything you have to worry about. Let me worry about any sort of implications of me having contacted you or whatever. If this is all on the up and up and it's all legit, I mean, that's just basic, putting your witness at ease. This is a foreign process to them. You're the lawyer. You're the one who understands, what it is and what's going on. Just basic preparation about what to expect and what the format is. And they sent her a letter and they talked to her on the phone and they got this affidavit from her and they subpoenaed her, but you couldn't bother to tell her, just be truthful about everything that you're asked, and you're not doing anything wrong. And now he looks worse. Now he looks like he's trying to fabricate some kind of cover, trying to use this girl as a shield. How and why, no idea. But it looks so much worse than had he just not called her in the first place. So with that preview, I got to tell you, I don't even know what to expect from this guy on the stand. It's long. It looks like 3 hours in the next part. So the last video in this series is going to be a longer one. I don't even know what to expect. Did he think this went well for him? Has he thought any of this has gone well for him so far? Does he think he's scoring points here? Because I'm telling you, that attitude that hearing examiner brought to this witness suggests the hearing officer is not at all pleased with this guy, not impressed with him. Hard for us to tell because we can't see the details of the text messages and so on and so forth. But to go in and probe a witness like this on basic credibility types of issues, he's not buying it. And if he's not buying it, there's a reason for that. So I don't get the impression this has gone well for Mr. Devine at all so far. Does he think, is he going to come off like he thinks he's got the upper hand? He scored some points here. I don't know about this. This is some Adrian Broner level. The hood nose kind of stuff. I don't know. It's probably a reference that not many of you understand, but it's common in boxing. Somebody gets in the ring, they throw no punches at all. Get their ass handed to them, but somehow like avoid getting knocked out. And they're like, it was a robbery. I totally had that. Like everybody with eyes can see that you didn't. But there's just some kind of something going on in the processing that prevents them from being able to see the same reality that that everybody else is operating in. So yeah, this one's for the hood kind of stuff. The hood knows. Oh, yikes. Well, getting down to the wire. One more witness left. And of course, we still don't have the hearing officer's decision. We know from what I was able to tell from just the reporting on this hearing that the hearing officer has made his recommendation to the commission. The commission has not acted on it yet. But I don't know. We'll see how this goes with Mr. Devine, and if it does not go a lot better than this nobody character witness went, then I would feel pretty confident predicting that hearing did not go well for Mr. Devine. That decision, that recommendation is probably not going to be in his favor. But gotta see, gotta watch it and see. So yeah, with that, guys, that's part 5. About to wrap it up here. We'll see you next time and get our conclusion to this this saga.